Well, Made in Brazil managed to notch another score on their board for the ESL Pro League, but also against Cloud9, who obviously they've taken players from. They've left Cloud9 in a worse way than where they ended it, coming from being previous major champions. Now we look at it as a little bit more awkward this time around, though, because we talk about stats and say, oh, it's not just reading into the stats, but this time around, there was just a very big lack of fragging ability coming out from Cloud9.
Yeah, that's one of the storylines for sure for this matchup. I felt like actually the first half of Cloud9 was looking really, really promising.
Yeah, nice back and forth.
Yeah, T side definitely improvement there. And it's off of things that are sustainable. Get the basics right and do them right. A lot of map control, again, they tried to do Banana a lot. They actually were given it by MIBR. I think maybe even a little bit too much considering how the half ended up being. But just the way that they were grinding out rounds, then going top and middle, making sure they were trading effectively and getting the bomb sides with higher the numbers advantage. It's obviously a key factor. But then, once we hit the second half, something just didn't click because it was mostly individual. Unfortunately, I hate to start pointing fingers from an individual perspective, but there were plenty of times where actually C9 players were positioned perfectly to deny attacks, but then just a player rushing particular a couple of times, for example, had a moment where he just wasn't connecting shots. And if he would have, he could have easily gotten like 2 kills, and then those situations could have been total opposite, and we would be watching a different scoreline. But yeah, that's how simple Counter-Strike can be at some points in time. You just don't hit those crucial shots and don't take those duels that you were supposed to, and you're looking at an L.
Well, going into that first half, what you were talking about there was, it did look like, oh, we got a real good game on our hands here. Cloud9 got some great potential with it, because I saw that kind of leadership from Golden that we expected, which we saw back in the Fnatic times. They had a nice T side, and it was a big, good start for MIBR, right? They were up 4-1, and then all of a sudden Cloud9 were like, yes, we're going to go in here thick and fast. We can kind of claim some rounds back. Yeah,
that's the example right now on your screen, actually, in these highlights, as you had MIBR just plowing out those 8 apartments, a very, very straight-up strategy. Rush on their balcony, not getting those kills. One of those great examples when it was really tight still. It was like 8-11 at that point in time. They could have easily gotten the economy control and started dictating the pace of the game. But
there's the thing to point out there, right? On that rush bit where it wasn't like he was completely blind. It wasn't like he was being pushed away by any mollies. He was stood in a position. He could have done his job, but he just struggled to make, like you said, the shots connect. And when it comes down to that, it's easy for a team like Made in Brazil to just bust into a site and kind of overrun you.
And also, his teammate came in through minute pit, trying to get the trade in, but even him, I can't remember who it was, but even he couldn't get the kill. And then obviously that's pretty much how the round was over, and the Swedes were going back to B to save their weapons basically, and that was it. Actually, an interesting change there. They've obviously decided to change so that Flusha and Golden are playing now B. It's automatic has been steered away to play with these American friends on that A bomb site.
Do you think that was maybe a communication thing as well, just to help them when they get into these situations?
I don't think so. I mean, I think ideally you're just going to keep everything English anyway. I mean, I don't think they're going to have like 2 different channels, one for Swedes and one for the English speaking.
Big occasion when Sweden goes down and just like, oh, okay, yep, we'll go back to our German ways.
Yeah, I don't think that's really a good idea. I think you just want to keep it English all the way through. So that's more just, I don't know. They just felt like maybe there's more natural chemistry between the two. I feel like, Counter-Strike being the common language between all of them, maybe they thought that these two would be the better fit, how to play Banana.
Now, going into Cash, the second map here between these two teams, they already faced off against this, but it was when Stiku was in the lineup. We still managed to see Made in Brazil win it, but it was 19-17, a closer game here. Just looking at what you've seen from Cloud9 in that game, thinking about how this could play out here, I feel like Made in Brazil would have a bit of a better chance against it, but my only concern is just how they got overran 16-6 against Ghost on our opening day here of Pro League.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Ghost was playing a really, really good game of Counter-Strike, and we praised him a lot for pacing the game correctly, making plays that really just forces you to kind of get baited into making proactive plays. And now I thought, MIBR kind of still seemed like they were not really dialed in, not super focused, and they were letting go a lot of free kills. So, I mean, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of the same from I was going to actually say Fnatic because of Golden, but Cloud9, that was in my head for some reason. Flusha and Golden on
we just haven't let it sink in, right? We're like Flusha, Golden, Fnatic. Oh no, wait a second, we're in North America.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird, right? But yeah, no, it's certainly the way, the idea of how to play a game of Counter-Strike from Golden is that it relies a lot about the defaults, and it's a good way. That's the right approach to the game. That means that if you then have the right answers to react to every single situation correctly, and everyone has that in their backbone, basically, defensively, yes, you will make a lot of right calls, and that gives you a lot of freedom of how to do things. But then you also have that different set of set executes that you can just throw out when you need be, and kind of set the pace and try to be that kind of have those different kind of play styles as well. But it's mostly about just trying to do the defaults and be really, really effective about it. And that comes down to MIBR. They have to, again, still be proactive, but find their way not to be too proactive.
Well, talking about not being too proactive, we're going to take a look at just a very recent change that happened to Cloud9 even. Cloud9. It wasn't meant to be a bad shout on them. I'm just going to give up on this throw. And you guys can see about what we thought about flusha going into this team.
Robin flusha Rundqvist has always been a player associated with the European region, and in a majority of his career, more specifically with Sweden. But not long ago, he traveled to the other side of the world to play for Cloud9. This happened after his former team of 5 years, Fnatic, had a disappointing run at the Faceit Major.
Battle in those quarterfinals, and for Fnatic, the first time this organization will not be in the playoffs of a Counter-Strike major. That is the end of a legacy.
He's going from one troubled team to another, though, as Cloud9 has struggled to hit their level ever since winning the E-League Major in Boston back in January. They've even had to part with some of their star players, Tarek and Stewie2K, along the way. And with a last place finish at their first LAN performance together at Blast Pro, it still may not be looking too good for Cloud9. But if anyone can turn this around, it should be the Swedish talent that is flusha.
Definitely spots him. Oh, not only does he spot him, thank you very much! Oh, wow, no way. He's hoping that flusha can anchor this position down, but he has the option to go back to A, and look at flusha. Oh my god, this would be a harsh reset on 14 rounds for Fnatic, and that smoke is tantalizing! Oh! flusha! He's gonna clean out connector! As sneaky as flusha was! No, oh my god! That is one of the most impressive clutches you will ever see.
Scrawny and Launders join us back at the desk. And one of the things I want to take from that video is just flusha going from one troubled team to another, which I think pretty much sums up what's going on with Cloud9 at the moment. Where do we think this is going to go? Because like you guys just saw that game there, Cloud9 had a little bit of style in it, but when it came onto the CT side, it started to fall apart for them. Going into cash, we need to see a lot more from them, I think.
It does feel like every change that Cloud9 have made since the major has just been like a temporary band-aid in some sense. Yeah. But they got flusha, who's like a world-class player, multiple major winner. So it's weird to still feel like that. So I wonder, I would want to ask the team, how comfortable do you feel with this? Do you actually see another major on your horizons? I think in terms of talent, they're getting back to a point where it's you can put them up there with other teams, but with other results, it's never going to feel like they have the lineup they want.
Agreed.
There was one particular round in that Inferno game where I see this late kind of A hit with the majority of the players, that one solo bomb player over towards B. That's the kind of play that takes a lot of communication actually, and a lot of very nitpicking type situations. So that's something I think we haven't seen from Cloud9 yet since flusha's addition. Therefore, I think it's moving in the right direction. I think if you just got to give it more time at this point, and you say to move from one troubled roster to another, that's true. But at least that other roster, it was troubled for a long period of time, and we can kind of give this one that grace period of at least being new.
Well, yes, it certainly will be a grace period. The game is surely going to be underway very soon. Guys, final thoughts going into this. Do we think Cloud9 can battle back?
It seemed like Cloud9 were off to a good start in the first map, but by the end of it, MIBR ran away with it, so I feel like that's going to happen again.
Yep, I think if not kind of MIBR through and through, we're going to maybe get a closer first half and then that one dominant T side, because I think that's where MIBR take control of games.
All right, well, the pistol round is going to get underway. Cloud9 versus Made in Brazil on cash.
Thank you so much. We'll see you guys after this one. Launders, a pistol round with MIBR on the offense. Seeing as I, again, just said that the T sides of MIBR are what kind of seems incredible and impressive, I think this one might be a continuation of our first matchup.
One would think, for sure. The three player setup on the CT side and the B site. One player on flex playing Z, and all of MIBR hanging back, waiting for pushes, but clearly are postured to run directly into this.
One question will be, how long do they wait? And do the CTs make a move elsewhere? I don't think they really have the manpower to do so. They're playing that retake A setup, so they're hoping that the B execute moves forward. MIBR maybe hoping that someone kind of pushed them. And now that they don't see that, looks like they're going to group up and head the other direction. No mid boost, no anchor in that spot. sometimes I feel like when you're going into this A split, it is nice to have that one boosted player to come mid-highway, maybe late, maybe once Cloud9 have lost a couple bodies, but nope. Straight up A main setup, single player towards door in the form of the bomb carrier, and off of the smoke, we're going to get that standard plant. So everything right now is still going the way Cloud9 would have anticipated, since they were set up for the retake to get-go.
The rotation is there. There's not a lot of utility to retake, however. Automatic has the one smoke. Fortunately for them, it is just a pistol. It is very common for the USBs to just come in, guns blazing, and try to clear things out. They don't have to worry about a main for 15 seconds, but the insurance policy here for MIBR is big. Cold Zero is still all the way back in spawn.
First over towards the forklift, Tarek as well in a kind of cornered position, but now that they're losing bodies, it looks like they want to try and duel Stewie 2K with a couple headshots, and Golden will do the exact same thing. So now it comes down to getting the player off the bomb, and it's the meat shield that gets this one finished. Cold Zera, a little bit too late towards mid, cannot manage to stop the defuse, and that's Cloud9 to get a CT-sided pistol.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a group effort. A lot of his teammates died without getting a kill. Stewie at least made it a bit competitive, but then with the smoke, that was really important. They had, fallen behind it, trying to spam through. Could have potentially tried to jump out, but it would have been the 3 players. Probably would have died anyway. And at that point of the round, you could say that Cloud9 had just a very nice retake with the way they came in, and it seemed like they just went straight up aggressive. But that's the nature of the game on A side on Cash. There's just so many open choke points. Like nothing is one smoke wide. Everything on the rotate in is so big that, as for the terrorists, at least, especially on low utility rounds, they have to push more for information than is comfortable. They have to get out of the site. They have to, as you said, try to maybe take over mid or have someone on boost. They have to they have to do something interesting beyond actually just getting the bomb down, sitting in their spots.
Yeah, well, this one's interesting at least. We've got that double AK purchased up. Cold Zera and Fur with the Kevlar and the guns. How do you play this one? Looks like it's going to be the double mid split off the AKs. One through door, and one from heaven, but Automatic's not showing face. Not even showing a little leg, no shoulders. He'll wait behind the boxes, and he's got support next to White Box. This is going to give a little bit of space for Fur to work with. He could drop down, move forward. Cold Zera's AK and him himself may just try to lock down middle while the rest of these players go B. Or one AK left behind. Not even. They're all just going to start expressing this B hit. I mean, he repositions, and it's not even to go towards middle door. No, it is just 5 guys in from B main, and they're going to try to just blast their way past any line of defense and get this bomb in. It's not going to be made easy. There's a lot of utilities here for the CTs being thrown out. It doesn't stop them from finding an entry, and Flusha stops for no one. That is 3 kills across the kill feed. Turn it 5. Cloud9 deny anything for MIBR.
Pretty nasty stuff for sure. The flash that came in at the end was the clutch. Was the most important moment, I think, for Cloud9, where I'm not even sure if it was Flusha who threw a second one, but all of his utility was really good. Peeking up at that information from the boxes seems kind of dangerous at first, but because he doesn't take that much damage, he can fall back, throw the Molotov, deny anybody from coming into the checker. It allows his team to rotate to the vent. It allows his teammate from the site to be a little bit more calm, I suppose, and not have to think about the cross and make sure that Flusha stays alive. And so I'm surprised they didn't lose anybody. That was surprising for sure, but the setup had a lot to do with it.
This setup, this round for Cloud9, comes in the form of the A main push. MP5 good for 2. Now it falls into rush, and not just the play, but the bomb on top of it. That's not going to be fun for MIBR to try and get back into their hands. At least getting the utility out of Cloud9, right? These are minimal wins. But there's another frag. Stewie holds off, comes out of the corner, even gets an upgrade into a gun. Could do a little bit of a drive-by. Whoa, no, the knife! Ah, get away! He does deny the kill. Flusha, a little bit too big for his boots.
Wow, big for his britches. He's having a little bit of fun with it. That was quite an unlikely knife. I'm surprised that he actually went for that. But he didn't come close. It did look like Stewie was about to get a knife there.
I was scared for him.
Yeah. Wow, well, that's the kind of confidence they definitely need. They want to get back to the top. So now we're into round 4. Finally, we get a buy up to buy up. Cloud9 have had a really good start. Tough end to the last map, but they can leave that one behind. Now what will we see happen? Initial nade to stop anybody for peeking into A main for early information. Rush creeping around the outside of the smoke with a player on bomb wall looking to push maybe.
There's 2. Rush with a 3rd. Nice kills here with the AK-47. He's going to have to switch over, and Automatic gives cover. Again, that bomb just thrown into his lap. A gift. Back-to-back rounds. Rush locks it down. He's got as many kills as Cloud9 rounds. That's so smooth.
That's an insane hold. Amazing stuff. And I think as that smoke was about to dissipate, he was getting prepped to just walk in through the flash, but had his back turned perfectly, killed Stewie, Fallen, Coldzera, all of them, and lights up the kill feed. Really no need for teammates in that situation, so extremely well done. And now MIBR, just like that, back on a save, didn't get a single kill that round.
Nothing at all. But they do have the flashbang with the upgraded pistols. Going to be trying to apply that B pressure quickly. Stewie just blindsides Flusha. Will get the kill eventually. Skadoodle with an M4 up. Flusha from the grave, in fact. A little parting gift for Stewie. And that makes things just come to a grinding halt. So now it's going to matter down to the Deagles, sneaking away with some succulent headshots. But Coldzera has been dealt with. It's Tarek to work his way up from white box. Could pinch rush on A, or get into the face of Automatic. That's an AWP in his hands now. Tarek could go on a tear.
Imagine.
But it's denied. Anything further will have to come from Fallen. And the aim punch isn't going to help his efforts. So 5-0 start on the CT side. This is looking great.
Yeah, it was a good attempt. I like that flash that Stewie threw. It was the right and left click flash while running straight at B. If there's an opper posted on the cross and you decide to run and you have the best B spawn on T side, if you jump across, it's a very hard shot for the opper to hit. If they let that shot ring off, he's dead for sure, running back to headshot. And so it's a super nice move that you can pull versus any caliber of team. And we see that happen very often. Ghost tried to pull that off a couple of times in their match versus MIBR. Now, got Cloud9 giving them the business on cash as well. Which, to be honest, if I'm Cloud9, I'd check out how Ghost did it, because they had really cool executions.
Aww. I love seeing that boost go well. Ooh. Skadoodle with some shards in his back. Stewie 2K with an opening kill towards the A site. We'll finally get Rush off of that fork position, where he's really been a nuisance.
Yeah, Stewie's the concierge, the doorman. The guy who is always in squeaky, trying to be as annoying as possible. And these kills are so hard to get as the guy inside of squeaky, but if you've got a good player here, there's nothing more annoying than having to lock down the A site, think about your teammates' rotations, but then also try to kill the guy in squeaky while also avoiding damage from the spams through default and otherwise. Oh, wow.
No, says Stewie. Get out. Automatic. Torn apart. Golden takes his place. Wants to go into the forklift, but a preemptive Molotov's going to deny him his play. And instead, he is stranded. He'll work the ladder to get up above. And we've got deaths every which way, but it does leave Flusha alone. He's going to need all 5 frags this round, and that does seem unlikely. But he's at least got fur in the bag.
Seems like Flusha's been in the mood to go for these kinds of plays. So as unlikely as it is, he can do anything with it. Careful bursts are not careful enough. Well, maybe they were careful enough, but simply weren't sufficient. Coldzera gets the best of him, and MIBR get around finally on the board after losing 5 straight. And I am shocked. And that round obviously comes down to the 2 kills that Stewie were able to get. Number 1, killing the bane of their A executes in Rush outside of forklift. And then, shockingly, after it seemed like Automatic had more than enough time to get in between that thrown flash, get into Squeaky, and straight up kill Stewie. Stewie somehow whips his gun out faster than you'd expect and hits his first bullet.
Fastest fingers in the West. Now this one comes to a bit of a grinding halt. The smoke grenades are down. MIBR recognizing the importance of this one. Do not want to lose what would be momentum thanks to the 6th round win. Skadoodle continues to retreat and sink back into checkers. Fur, the opposite, just runs forward and he blindsides Golden. Tarek anticipates the peek from Automatic. Maybe that's the man who's supposed to cover mid. And the end result is a 5 versus 3 with a minute left over. Coldzera may not realize that Scott is in here. And Tarek's incredibly tagged towards the vent. So Tarek's the first casualty. Cold, prepared for the peak. That is Ska splattered at a 4 versus 2 still for MIBR. They're splitting both bomb sites with the bomb actually down, so the options are all open. And with the kill towards A, you know exactly what's up. it's another round for the Brazilians.
Yeah, strong default followed up by some good kills, and that's all it took for MIBR. And again, that's something that I think Sean brought up on the desk at the major in regards to MIBR, was that they had a lot of cool new stuff, great flashes. We talked about their chain flashes on what was the last map, Inferno, and how they've been doing that on a lot of new maps, and then also incorporating a ton of new execs with five guys and everything like that. But then they kind of forgot about the fundamentals a little bit more, and the defaults were falling behind. So good to see a round fall into place with a simple default, and now that's going to add to their list of sustainable ways to win rounds.
Winning rounds is what they will continue to do because, of course, it is a minimalistic purchase from Cloud9 to try and stop it. It's never going to work. Not when you've got aim like this. But you've got grenades, so who needs aim? It's a lobbed frag deep into middle. Automatic sent packing. Flusha still up. It was the CT side of MIBR that I think was kind of exploited when they were playing Ghost at the very start of the season. And I think that there's still, to me, going to be that question mark looming over my head until we see the swapping of the sides. Like, I don't anticipate MIBR struggling here in the first 15. If they struggle at all, that is.
If they struggle at all,
exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think they could either just bring this back after 5, or once we switch, maybe we see Cloud9 pick up some early rounds again. Because remember, this start was a 5-0 beginning for Cloud9, and that's things have changed.
Yeah, MIBR have fallen back on their feet, and they've done it with a couple of different ways. But even like on the 2 rounds that they won that were rifle rounds, it was just like Stewie working Squeaky, or them just all working their default really well. Cold Zera, obviously most memorably getting his kill on Skadoodle, playing back checkers. And that's going to be a continued problem for C9. They're going to have a very similar T side, I feel like. And so this might be a taste of their own medicine, or just some foreshadowing for what's to come in the second half. But I really don't know at this point who's going to win this game, because Cloud9's early start made it look like they've got some tricks up their sleeve. And I think we're going to go ahead and match medic the server, as there's been a bit of a technical timeout. And I think match medics are all right. They're I think maybe a little bit worse than TeamSpeak issues.
Yeah.
But not quite as bad as mouse issues.
I mean, match medics are a fantastic technology.
Interesting.
I wasn't around the time before match medicing, so I didn't actually have to experience it.
So you don't know what it was like.
It's like you know, it's like finding a veteran.
Yeah.
It's just, I remember the war stories.
It was the same time before there were washers and dryers. We actually had to clean our own clothes without the help of machines.
How would you do such a thing? I can just picture you sitting next to a river, scrubbing on a little pad.
Yeah, and then just wearing it on my way out.
Yeah.
But it was actually a server issue that was caused by a TeamSpeak issue. So
How does that
I think
happen?
that brings you up a notch. That's a combo issue.
Yeah, once you start adding layers,
Layers.
things can get real complicated
Yeah,
real
you're going
quick.
higher up on the list of problems.
That's the beauty of technology. It can be such a fantastic thing. It's the reason me and you are here. It's the reason we're all enjoying Counter-Strike. Whoa. But it's also, of course, coming with issues as well. And these are just the costs we have to pay in order to enjoy Counter-Strike.
I'm fine with it.
Me too.
You know, I'd rather have it this way than any other.
Yeah.
I don't have a replacement regular sports, so
Me neither.
I'm glad people like watching video games. I won't tell anybody that you made a record move by having your cord
It happened at
right
Istanbul
in
as
front of
well.
you.
It was our chance in the grand finals.
Oh, did it
Saw a
happen
wire
right in
in
the grand
front of me.
finals?
Yeah.
200,000 people saw a wire
Yeah.
in front of this.
Yeah.
Wow, he's really trying to take this duo down, I see.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to implode it from the inside out.
Yep.
I mean, you're not going to screw up yourself, so I gotta try to, you know, even this out.
Yeah. Yep. No sabotage in my camp. So we don't know how far we are away from fixing the issue. I don't know how a server issue could be caused by a TeamSpeak issue or the other way around, but I'm not an IT guy.
Neither am I. I just play games.
Are you good with technology? Can you build your own computers?
I did build my own PC twice.
Nice.
And my girlfriend's. That's 3. That's 3 PCs now.
Cool. That's
Notches
good.
on the belt.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's good.
I mean, I didn't say they all
The
work.
first time you did it, who helped you? Like, how did you learn?
The internet.
Nice.
Yeah, YouTube guides.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you have a computer? No, we're not going to break, producer. We're bantering at the moment.
This is our
We're
chance
telling
to
stories.
shine.
Okay.
You know,
Okay, the new server's up, so we'll be just a moment.
see, the thing is like, as our job, we're never supposed to make ourselves more important than the Counter-Strike.
Uh-huh.
But, you know, if we
It's
have...
moments like these, though, where we get the shine.
Yeah. It's the Launders and Scrawny show.
And so you use your phone to build your computer? Like you use the internet on your
Yeah,
phone?
yeah, exactly.
Oh, so you had to look at these tiny videos?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
squint and squeeze. And
Did you break anything?
I did actually. When I was putting in the CPU, I actually dropped it.
That's a very important
so,
part. That's
yeah,
the brain
exactly.
of the computer.
One of the pins was legitimately bent.
It snapped.
It did.
You
It
know
didn't
what?
break. It didn't break.
Okay.
So I took a.
You bent it back.
Yeah. So
Did
I
you
took.
have an AMD PC?
Yes.
Oh my god.
And it works.
First mistake, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
Intel,
yeah.
sponsor of the show. Great processors.
I took
unparalleled performance.
I took one of those I took a toothpick and slid it between the two layers of pins
Yeah.
and just kind of squeezed it back, and then it worked.
That's shocking because those pins are extremely sensitive. They're super thin, and there's like hundreds of them. I actually broke 3 motherboards once trying to build an AMD PC. Won't make that mistake
So
again.
who's really the amateur?
Well, you know what?
This guy.
You've got to break some eggs. You know what I'm saying?
That's very true.
Now I know all about that. Never happen again. Same story for you, right?
Is that because you've just started buying pre-builds?
Well, it's just a PTSD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not going to take that chance twice, but no,
Right.
I haven't made a mistake since the first time.
Yeah, but now I still pay people to build my computer because they do the cable management, which is something I never
Yeah.
bothered to learn.
That's important.
You throw them $80 and they give you the PC all built up. They
And it
pack the
looks great.
boxes for you. Like,
Drivers in there.
it's
The
worth it.
process.
You're gonna have the computer for a couple of years.
I think it's part of the culture, though, don't you?
What, to build your own PC?
Yeah.
Well,
It's like
I
a
can
rite of
say I
passage.
can.
But
If
well,
anybody asks, sure. We're not talking about cable management if we ask if you can build a PC. How's your cable management?
fantastic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but you have OCD, so it's a little different. You have to, or your brain gets all weird.
Yeah, I also have a glass panel on the side, so like if you don't do good cable management and you have one of these like kind of flashy. I mean, listen, I've got RGB RAM.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when you know you're going for the cosmetics.
So did I. I didn't know it lit up, but I was like, that is kind of cool.
Until you plugged it in, realize that you can't see anything with your case, and
Kind of this juvenile thing that you're like, well, while your RAM lights up, but you know what? It's nice.
that's how you separate the boys from the men.
Oh, yeah. Which one are we then?
I'm not quite sure.
All right. So
You want to get out of here?
yeah, let's just take a walk off.
We've got the new server up, folks. That, of course, is where the match medic's going to go down, and therefore this isn't going to be a long one. So don't go too far. Maybe get a glass of water and come straight back. And
Camera's over there, by the way.
Lawners and Scrawny and I will see you in just 2 seconds.
Incendiary out.
Did I seriously get that dude in smoke?
Game, record, and stream without compromise. An Intel Core i7.
My God, that is absolutely stunning! They are the champions!
Hey guys, welcome back. Of course, we've got the match medic all figured out. Players are readied, and we're going to be in game in less than 90 seconds. So,
do you know anyone else that has 2 first names in their first name?
No, I don't. Are you talking about Tom Eric?
Producer man. Yeah, the guy who's always in our ear.
I thought it was 2 producers at first, Tom and Eric.
Yeah,
but
my 2 favorite producers.
That's not the case. No, now it's this one.
Oh yeah, throwing us the change-ups.
I feel like I'm being stared at
by
by
a
a lot
happen,
of people.
though? He's got a hyphen in his name.
Yeah.
But both those names are names.
Yep.
So they could have been like, your name's Tom.
And you know, coming from Quebec, like, I mean, that's a very popular thing in like French Canada,
Hyphens?
right? Like you have like Jean-François or Jean-Luc, things like that. But I've never seen an English guy with it.
Okay.
That's why I appreciate him so much. He's one of a kind.
English. Oh yeah, he is Canadian though.
Yeah. Sorry, when English, that's what I mean.
Yeah. But so at least he's in Canada. Maybe he's got French down the line somewhere.
Maybe. It's a family tradition. We'll have to ask him all these questions and more when we get to see him.
He didn't answer. I said, why do you have 2 first names, sir?
It's because he's fuming, probably.
Maybe.
Maybe he's self-conscious about it. He's talking.
And he still has to do our countdowns. It's wonderful.
15 seconds. We're going to get back into this game. We are on cash, and we are in a situation where MIBR kind of taking control. Right?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
A couple good rounds there, a couple good rounds the other side.
Yeah.
We're not used to seeing games that are so close. And so we're trying to figure out who is actually in the lead, but
I don't believe it's 0-0.
It's 5-3.
I see kills on the scoreboard, so don't worry, folks. It's just a little HUD that needs to be updated. That'll happen in just a second. Unless we've just decided to change rules and start games with guns.
Mm-hmm.
But I doubt it.
That would be strange. Good spam. That usually never amounts to anything, unless they're up close. So just as Skadoodle turns that corner is when you'd get the least amount of spread and at that distance to do the max amount of damage possible. coldzera throwing the flash that's supposed to land in checker, automatic, not falling to the pressure, staying scoped, but fallen just a little bit, has a little bit of a better angle, a little bit farther away from the angle, is able to spot automatic first. And that is going to be a whole lot more difficult now for Cloud9 to have to come back from. They are forcing rotation over to B, which is kind of fine. Typically, you'll play a retake on A even with 5 people, so can't say that this is the worst spot to be in. Not the worst map to lose a player early, but you'd be hard-pressed to win a man-disadvantaged round from MIBR.
I feel like Skadoodle's a little scared about being pinched from mid. It's for that reason that Rush continues to float between both extremities of Highway. Cold, wary of vent, but Ska's not looking back. I mean, either of these players could be caught off guard if their backs are turned, but I feel like coldzera is more aware of the possibility. You see him keep checking it. So if he's finally fully extended and can see into the back corner, you'd think he'd turn around, but no, Ska does get the jump on him. And then Ska falls down one into the extremities of checkers, but Stewie straight through smoke. That's a crucial kill because it's the one that cracks the site open and allows for the cover from Fallen to get the job done. With just 15 seconds left, the bomb is planted, and Rush finds himself all alone.
That was great. I love the patience there. I feel like Skadoodle maybe called it a little bit early by falling out of the vent. It's not a pretty situation to stay in the vent, but once you land, I think people keep forgetting about, and I'm not saying he forgot, but I think in general people forget about the fact that you have like so much landing inaccuracy. As soon as you drop out of the vent, you have to get very lucky to get a headshot, even if your aim is good. And if you're the player waiting for someone to drop out of vent, you have a great advantage. If they come to the edge of vent and to maybe drop off, but not quite, then someone can shoot your feet. So maybe I think in that situation, just hold tight for a second, call for rotates if he feels like more people are coming. But to each his own. And if there was nobody in B main, obviously he kills coldzera, gets a lot of info at A, but then also makes his rotate quite a bit longer. So 5-4, and MIBR on a bit of a hot streak.
A little bit of one. Little bit of one. Should most certainly continue. Remember, only Rush surviving in the previous round, so only Rush with a gun this time. Where's he go? We've seen him find impact over towards Forklift multiple times, but I feel like MIBR are very much sinking their teeth into the opposite side of the map. B, their target to take as of late. In a close position held here, Skadoodle. Poor guy just gets deleted. Never stood a chance. And they're going to just continue the push forward, not only to the bomb site, but one better. Prying into CT spawn, seeing so many bodies that they don't want to linger too long. Oh my god, Golden he's going to need some dental work. I hope Cloud9 have benefits.
Uh-oh. Does he find a spot? A little safe haven between the two mollies? Yeah, he did.
First seems to want to pry for second servings. And then Tarek's looking to just draw the attention back so that Fur's position goes unchecked, but smoke will completely blanket everything. Cloud9 not going to find much footing here. Rush does duel towards middle. Remember, that one M4 could still be kept for another round. That would mean it finds impact in 3. But that will be the case. Nobody gives chase, and MIBR keep 5 up as they tie at an appropriate number.
Good round from MIBR, obviously, just the anti-eco, but they did a good job of making sure that Cloud9 stayed interested outside CT, took all their fights one at a time, and obviously we had a match medic, so the scores are not accurate. Actually, I think the scores update, if this is like, yeah, the scores should update, like their kill should update once they get a kill, if I'm not mistaken, into the second half. In the first half.
Whoa, fast one. Look at these T's go. Up and over. Into Golden's hands. But he's flirting with the idea of rotating back. Does not want to be a liability. Doesn't want to be another casualty either. And the threats are there. Where there are no threats, at least for MIBR, is the A site. They've already cleared it out, unbeknownst to them. Bomb inbound. As you said. Always a constant door play. Normally it's Stewie, but it looks like Fallen's taking his position this time. Skadoodle trying to keep his eyes on it. Wants to figure out whether or not MIBR have committed inwards, whether they have sniffed out this opening from Cloud9, and the answer is absolutely yes. The plant expresses so. I'm worried about this mid lurk. coldzera could just backstab poor old Golden. He's been left to his own devices. And that's all she wrote for him. So Ska and Flusha exiting B main, looking to once more save. As MIBR, they continue this tear here, Launders.
It was great. The mid aggression paid off. They got that opening frag, was absolutely pivotal. And maybe if coldzera doesn't get that kill at mid, though, Flusha goes ahead and takes him out. And some good damage dealt near the end of the round, but losing his own life might not have been worth it. That is obviously the price you may have to pay. Skadoodle going down as well, 5 dead. As MIBR win the round, didn't even have to worry about a retake situation. Still got the exit frags. Cloud9 still have a lot of money in the back, though. Somehow they are looking quite wealthy. Don't exactly know how that ended up the way it did, but they put together the buy now. MIBR last round went out to mid straight up. We haven't seen that from them. Tarek looking to take an op spawn, but now just dropping it off to Fallen. And Fur goes up over boost. Golden gets the dink once again, but it's not quite enough. Got to go to the full distance. And Fur's here to roam. Wouldn't be surprised if he manages to find another kill. Actually, he's going to get the op too.
I feel like of all the rounds we've seen from MIBR, this is one of the more reserved ones in the first few seconds.
I think because they got the kill, they're like, all right, my rule of thumb is add an extra 20 seconds where you sit and wait, regardless of what the strategy was previously. Because they still have so much time left on the clock. It's like, hey, if Cloud9 want to go ahead and push something, well, we've got our passive anti-eco setup waiting for you.
Fallen's having smokes and flashbangs just fly overhead.
There's the pushes.
The pushes, as you said, about 20 seconds later, and Fallen even finds automatic trying to shuffle within the A site. So poor old Flusha with a scout has no teammates left to work with, and you can take a quick look at MIBR's health. A rapid glance will tell you that this could have turned elsewhere. I mean, kills all going the way of MIBR with 0 deaths, but very easily could not be the case. Look at the max out their cash, though. Fallen 16,000, Fur just behind him. Tarek as well, above 10k. Hell, everybody other than coldzera's got 10 grand or more in the bank.
They're keeping it really simple, and I like where they have the op from Tarek go out to peek mid. I don't know if they try to do that one more time. It seems like Fallen's now in the back. Stewie going off to his squeaky position for potentially the default Tarek here to make sure that no one gets too crazy at mid. And once again, they abuse the boost.
There's a headshot, a tap into rush. Golden trades. Tarek stairs through smoke, waiting for it to fade. Automatic's now just beneath the lip of boost. Does not have a player with him to go for that, so it's automatic versus Tarek. And Flusha may actually come over here to draw away attention. Could allow for Automatic to just round this corner really fast, try to duel versus Tarek. If they catch him with a Molotov in hand, that'd be fantastic. But it is not the case just yet. Doesn't clear close. And that's 2 simultaneous pistol kills here for Cloud9. So a round that seems to be working with just some sidearms. An upgrade into the AK for Audi. Fallen gives chase with just the P250. Automatic actually has the advantage. Not that he's going to make it work. Bomb just strewn out into the open. And coldzera will be tasked to clutch. There's a beautiful headshot to Skadongler. Flush and Golden, they're going to get aggressive. They push up into A main, and, well, that's why. Golden establishes the op shot. coldzera's down, and Cloud9 rob one. Not something we've seen, actually, out of them versus MIBR as of yet. Normally, these pistol rounds have been good for the Brazilian core.
A nice bit of redemption for Golden, as he's able to not only pick up that initial kill, which has been the hardest part for him when he's been holding down mid, but then to turn that into a 4K and also just straight up close out the round with the op shot, recovering it, bringing it back to his teammate. So that is a job well done from him, and he's probably going to feel a little bit less salty about the way that mid has ended up for him and his team in previous rounds. Such a big choice for the CTs to choose whether or not they want to fight at mid or if they want to try to circumvent the offense by pushing through A main or through B main. And it's quite curious to see that they have consistently tried to just take the fights in the early few seconds of the round at mid versus boost and continually lose. But again, maybe there's still hope there. That's a 2-2-1 setup. And Flusha is just playing solo in the site, solo in the small site as MIBR move out to A.
Going back to the way they started off this T side with a little bit of an A main burst, and we had seen Cloud9 disrupt that setup in previous rounds. This time, they're actually punished for their transgressions. Damage through smoke both ways. coldzera trades versus Golden. Automatic now in it. He's going to have temporary cover, and he does slip by, but still, MIBR deny any further footing. Skadoodle's kill could be crucial because it keeps it within 1. Flusha charges in, and Fallen finds him just before he gets a chance to strike on the low HP player in the form of Tarek. But Skadoodle's lucky to be alive. 3 HP and 2 opponents. There he goes. Cold, just a constant threat from inside A main. He's jiggle peeking corners, trying to find different angles, and trying to find a round, which he does take in the end. So here we are, Launders, at the 15th, and we could, just like on the first map, end at the closest of possibilities.
Fallen really a magician on that op. I like how he peeked out from the left side of quad, and it seemed like he doesn't even have vision on his screen, but he picks the exact right angle to go out as far as, and easily nails the op shot. So now Cloud9 are forced up. coldzera gets that opening frag. A lot of presence and Squeaky from both sides, and Stewie instantly dinked to only be continued to take down as Golden continues the aggression, but those two players now locked into Squeaky. Not many options for them.
Yeah, not with all these smokes in their faces. Maybe Skadoodle can open up further options. Actually, they're going to go the other way. They don't care about the A site because they've managed to drop bomb off of Tarek. And Skadoodle's just buying time so that he can perfectly strike. But he'd have to make a more proactive play. He actually goes the other way and establishes a little bit of footing towards B. Luckily, because there's 2 players inside Squeaky, Golden's spot is taken. Skadoodle's so worried about a B player, but little does he realize both men now further closer towards A. And Scott, because he's seen bomb, is very threatened by the potential of a flank. If he rounds this corner, then Fur could just flick onto his face.
There's a certain line at which Skadoodle does not want to cross, and Fur can actually take this op and try to post with it, but he's such low HP and Automatic. What a round from him. The initial frag and Squeaky was what definitely made it look like it was a round that Cloud9 were going to bring back.
I think that makes absolute sense. I mean, you think about Skadoodle constantly calling guys, my flank could be open here, I can't really watch this bomb. Automatic, who is in Squeaky, has 2 options, either linger towards the door or do what he did. Come back and keep his eyes on it with, of course, the AK, the one gun Cloud9 had in that situation. And then sure enough, he finds the 2 Ts just creeping in. I feel like once he comes out of Squeaky, sees that the opening area isn't contested, it's pretty much a done deal. They're either A main or back behind Skadoodle, and the answer is theirs, as is the round.
Yeah, it's such an interesting game, just the gamble reading, because if you play too standard, then I mean it could be the right decision, but if it's standard and everybody knows it's the correct, like objectively best decision, well then they know exactly where you are, and suddenly that position is not as powerful. So playing a little bit more fluid is definitely necessary these days, and making on-the-fly calls as to like where you're going to move, what you're going to push, then it has become more and more warranted and incentivized to be able to like match up to other teams that are so smart about how they approach each and every situation. Now we're in the pistol, that close half that you talked about, Connor. The prophecy came true, and we don't know from where the bomb is positioned as to what site Cloud9 want to go to, but certainly they're leaning towards the bottom half of the map.
Got some taps and a trickle pass from Cloud9. It's all 5 bodies now swarming the B site. Coldzera's within it. Can't line up a headshot, and therefore falls for free, as did middle. Damage is substantial. Skadoodle just takes that one on the back. And then the smokes come out. That's going to completely section off anybody B main or checkers. That is 3 of the 5 initial players for Cloud9 countered by utility. But you can see Automatic coming back into the open in order to be in a spot to contest. There are... Oh, my! Tarek just sprinting. You could call that luck, but the second one, skill. Golden completely ripped apart. Tarek's going to jump on bomb and die. Not going to matter. Picked up the kit, first got the defuse, and that is MIBR with it again, another pistol.
I mean, that's the kind of frag that you can't train someone to get. Tarek falling out of heaven, hitting that USP shot, and then when he lands, amazing flick, but what is that? Complete luck on his part.
I mean, you can see him looking at the kneecaps. Yeah. And somehow he hits the head.
Yeah, he was in Mafia mode. He's about to cement his feet and throw him in the lake.
Not a fun way to go. But you can see Coldzera trying to cement his own feet within the site when that first push came past. And when he dies without finding anything, and Tarek already being on such low HP, you'd think that Cloud9 could take it. I do like that double smoke from MIBR, though.
Those are the best retake smokes. It's cool. I really want to know what they would have used the second smoke for, because I'm sure it was reactive. Like, hey, if they go A, we have 2 smokes, but what do they use the second smoke for if they go? If it's an A site hit, that's what I would like to know. Do they maybe block off highway, all rotate through truck, and then try to push in, or if they do A main and then have a second smoke, maybe just to try to smoke defuse.
Yep.
If it gets a little crazy, who knows what their plan was. But that is definitely, those are the 2 ideal smokes you want to use on B site, a site that's not so fun to play inside of.
Ballin making the most of a distracted rush. He had seen the grenade come over the top of White Box. Coldzera all the while pushes up. He's got Tarek just behind him, and that's a swift conversion from MIBR.
Easy over and done with. A couple of SMGs bought up into this round, 10-7 now for MIBR as they start to ramp up. It's really feeling like this is where they start to walk away with things. Are they 4 for 4 for pistols? No, Cloud9 won the first one in this, so they've got 3-1 in pistols in this series so far. And that is thoroughly represented in the score line. Could have been a tie game if not for it.
Oof.
Oh, that's a good nade.
Juicy. Second one a little bit more. Flashbang trying to enable the Shroud boost.
Ooh.
Did you hear that? Stewie up there. We've got Molotovs coming in. We've got bombs being dropped. Stewie continuing to be a nuisance up here. He's going to underhand the flash and try to peek past. Not going to keep him alive. So 4v3, bomb thrown out in the open, though. That's the biggest issue here, really, for Cloud9. How are they going to retrieve that? They've got the time to do it. Could stop, re-rotate, and come at it from multiple angles. But if they do so, it's going to burn a lot of time off of the clock because they haven't got positioning elsewhere at all. Going for the head boost. Trying to work this angle. It's going to cost them another life as the MP5 fires back from the other side. Poor Cloud9 still just grasping at straws.
Yeah, and Fur just touting the remaining utility. Tarek has also come by an incendiary, and yeah, this is not the position you want to be in if you're C9. It seems like C9 are being given fights.
Whoa!
They actually at least get 1 kill, but
I
gets answered back.
do love me a good Skadoodle clutch. He cuts down Tarek for relatively free. And now he's just going to be trying to chase Fallen, but he's so wary of the crossfire that doesn't actually exist. Skadoodle could be able to get the plant, but he's got to do it here and now. Ah, and he's exposed. If only he had a couple more seconds, I think he goes for the cover.
I think he did have time to go for the cover. The problem with planting defaults is that if you think that they're bomb wall, you can't actually escape without showing yourself. Whereas if you plant there, then it's not planted well for A main, but at least if they are walking up bomb wall, trying to get into the site, you can leave, play the left side of the site, take no damage whatsoever.
And I think the way that you see Skadoodle fixating towards Toxic, he really wasn't thinking about the flank.
Yeah. Yeah, so MIBR somehow, by the skin of their teeth, actually locking that up. That could have very easily been a round in favor of C9.
I think things get a little scary, though. I see 2 players dying because they're jumping into the doorway with an MP5, just spraying wildly.
Yeah, they definitely thought it was over.
And we saw a round like that yesterday versus Luminosity, where, you know, they have a substantial advantage, but what they needed was a patient play. In order for it to be a guaranteed win, it was patience that was needed. And they almost threw it. I would chalk that last round up to being a similar situation.
Yeah, it's no secret that they're not coming in full force. For sure. So, Deco for C9 made their way out mid. Fallen spots 1. That's all he needs to know. I'm sure his mind has started working, realizing what kind of eco is in store for them. And now he's going to play quad. So with a quad up, you can obviously hold down highway, no problem. Now you just need to have a player watching the back of Z. And if you think it's going to be A, I guess Stewie's position is great for holding down A main.
Fallen was double peaked there. Cloud9 trying to make the most of the little they have. Unfortunately for them, they are continuing to walk into the guns, and if the op and M4 of Stewie wasn't enough, well, Fur will certainly be. No Deeg kills for Cloud9. A valiant effort, and they did establish mid control, but they get nothing past that. So thus far, it is flawless from MIBR, but now they have a real challenge as there are guns to lie ahead.
Yeah, finally we get to see this. Even footing for both teams. What do Cloud9 have in store for us? I do wonder. Again, automatic opping one more time. I can imagine he's like grinded out like practice and tried to make sure that he's going to be able to hit all his shots and is used to looking through a scope for all of his kills. And as a player spending most of his time in scrims, he's using spending a significant amount of time actually opping, even compared to like a pugger who plays like 100 pugs a month, you know? He's specifically not using the op every game. So I know he can definitely hit shots, smart player. I'm sure he knows when he needs to be aggressive and when not to. But every time I see him on a new map, I'm like, how much is he like opping on this map? Because there's also the question of, well, great oppers have their favorite maps and maps they don't like. Is Cash something he's looking forward to or not?
Right now, he's just looking forward to a target because Cloud9 are showing nothing. Not even an ankle. But with a flick of a wrist, it's going to be the utility being thrown over. Golden could even drop a molly just beneath him. That would obscure the positioning of Fur. Very close is he. Fallen a little further back next to the sandbags. But the AWP may actually call the attention towards him and really enable Fur to succeed. It's actually Stewie to make first contact. There's Fallen versus Golden. Whoa!
1 health.
That is close. Skadoodle flicks downwards, but not fast enough to stop Fur. 5 versus 2, and Flusho with Rush. Just gonna try to get into the A site. Maybe for a plant, maybe for something. Give themselves the most minimal of victories here in the 20th round. However, nice positioning from Stewie. He goes over the box, and Rush now burned into the open, so Fallen drops him MIBR to 13, and this is still Cloud9 lacking T rounds.
Yeah, truly an unfortunate series of events there with how mid played out. I mean, like Fallen not dying because he's able to kill Golden, and yes, it's on Golden to make sure he locks that frag down while Fallen still has the op out. But even with the Molotov down, technically Golden could have just waited that out, had him cross first, and then try to take the fight, and instead try to catch him in the fire, and then Fallen living with 1 HP, and then Fur creeping out under the angle of Skadoodle as Skadoodle was waiting for the mid push and still not being able to complete that frag. It feels like just everything went wrong for Cloud9 that round. Really unfortunate for them. And now at least Cloud9 will have a bye once again, so we can keep the interesting rounds rolling. Smoke to B main for Skadoodle, standard thing to do as a terrorist. And maybe they're just doing this to make it seem like you're on a default and having one person work here.
What's that smoke from Flusha? Why does he drop that?
Smoke. Did he drop the smoke right in front of him? I have no idea. Who knows what Flusha is thinking about?
It's just homing, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Misses the homeland. Tarek comes out from behind the box. Fallen. Simultaneous off-frag in the middle of the map. So, it was Cloud9 taking it back, but now they look to return the favor. And Automatic nearly gets a little bit of timing there with the player in the site. Can't quite get the best of him just yet. There's a heavy presence here from Cloud9, but there's also this play from Flusha in middle that's very crucial because it does take down Stewie and enables the bomb to potentially wrap back through Van. Or Vent. Golden exposed and in the open. Coldzera's yet to been able to find him, and there you have it, the headshot back for Cloud9. Fallen needs to re-rotate, and the flank from Fur is eventually going to get here, but will the bomb make it to site? It is thrown over. So Fallen knows that the other man's going to reposition towards Checkers, and he hits him. Drops it to 4 HP just as Fur gets into position, and that's a combined kill here for the two remaining Brazilians. MIBR on the retake, and Golden within the site has a health advantage over Fallen, who has decided to now go towards Vent. And you can see Golden very worried of the potential peek from heaven that's never going to come. Obviously, it has to be done quickly because time's already halfway gone, but they need to remove Golden from the back of this bomb site, and the frag not going to soften him up. The peek out from Golden's denied, and that's another round for the CTs. Still, they continue flawlessly.
And Fur just straight up outduels him in the 1v2. Would have been a round in the bag for Golden, you would assume, with Fallen on such low HP in those last few moments. And here's that play that we didn't catch in the middle of the round with Flusha walking into Z. And yeah, you can see how that could really open things up. Having control of the CG spawn is crazy on Cash because you're so close to both B and A. And if there's anybody in heaven, well, they're under threat. So, and MIBR win that round. And I think it was really Fallen's proactivity that stood out to me the most. The way that he chased the frag on low health into the site, and made sure that Flusha was low enough that Fur could tag him down easily. Tarek's traded places with Fur. He's actually the one out here, camping out in the smoke, just trying not to die, making himself as small a target as possible, and ends up getting spammed down.
Not scrawny enough. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
A crescendo of kills. Cloud9, 5 versus 2, out of nowhere. Just decimate the A bomb site, but Stewie 2K comes in from the back line of A main. He's flashed a bit. Fire to the feet of the potential planter. Knows that the peek from Quad could get him, and it most certainly will. Cold just ejects from the B bomb site now. This is an 8th for Cloud9, finally on the board. Again, same instance as the first map launders, where we have as close as possible of a first half, only to see MIBR soar forward.
Yeah, absolutely, and you hope this isn't just some kind of a consolation prize. It was a solid round overall for Cloud9. I don't know I don't know why they were so confident that Tarek was out mid. Maybe they just anticipated that somebody from MIBR was out mid. Maybe Tarek got trolled by Fur, and he was like, hey, take my place at mid, I'm sure it's going to be fine. And then all of Cloud9 just are shooting every single bullet of their magazine at him, but we'll never know that. I have no idea how that happened. And typically you don't have someone play close unless he's got support, but they didn't give him that much help either. And here, yeah, they're just kind of also focusing on their attention on the smoke. Oh, I see. They saw him for just a brief period of time.
Oh, that was all rush. Good quick entries there. I mean, obviously catching Tarek's leg, but then that second headshot over Toxic. Beautiful. Maybe it is the changing of the pace that could allow Cloud9 back into this game. The problem with that is that once you start playing too fast, sometimes you create potential for errors. A run boost that will find 0 targets because the B defense comes in the form of 2 players on site. They were head stacking, and they're not finding any targets just yet. So they give it up and call a 3rd man over. Fallen, bolstering the bomb site now that both the ops are here.
How does the rest of this round play out? Fallen again being very proactive. Stewie somehow gets the better of Flusha. No idea how that went down. His aim has just been crisp this game. And there's 3 people here at B. They're ready for a hit.
Very important that Stewie gets that kill. If not, I think this defense actually kind of whittles away. That's an easy one. Golden walks straight into Fallen. Rush has walked out onto the A site, and Stewie's going to get blindsided by this, but the trigger discipline? Okay, now he's just going to call for his team to wait on A main. Maybe not now that he's decided to pull the trigger, but he won't get a second towards truck. Of course, they're still able to cross, but with a cost. Automatic last man up.
Let's see it.
Gonna get a Molotov, and he's still playing off of the op. He needs 4 kills in this situation, and MIBR are working forward. Misses the first one onto the truck, and that's when Tarek strikes from above. It is MIBR on 15.
Very clean stuff. I like, and you can always count on Fallen. That the number one thing that will never work on a team with Fallen on it is if you try to do a false exec. If you go for a fake, that's one thing. You commit a couple of people to it, that's another. But if you try to just throw some smokes and leave, I mean, he's just gonna go peek. He'll figure out that no one's there to fight. He's happy to creep into your angle with an op. And because he always gets in your face, you have just no chance of pulling the wool over his eyes. So in what could be the last round of the game, MIBR up 15-8. And Cloud9 have a pretty decent buy. It's just Rush that had to go for a utility belt and only has a deagle. And now they're creeping out to B main, and we've got a third player opping now. It's Golden.
You can see him watching the window because it wouldn't be the first time, nor the second, nor the third that MIBR have actually gone for that boost. Hasn't actually net them a kill, I don't believe, but they've been consistently trying it.
So how's it going to pan out? Nobody in Vent, nobody in CT for the retake, but there are 2 people dedicated on the site, so the smokes might encapsulate them, but they're happy for this. Easy first kill for coldzera, and they're not going to assume that somebody else is here as well.
Yeah, all the while Tarek just waiting. Wrapped around the closest corner. Hoping that somebody overextends, and that shall not be the case, so it seems. Smoke in his face, and 45 seconds left on the clock. Another op shot from Fallen, not going to hit its target. That one single threat at A has gone down, and they get visual confirmation on the second player back there. But confirming him there doesn't actually solve the problem. Someone's got to push in. They need to crack this open, which they will, until Fallen denies anything further. There you have it, folks. MIBR with a second win over top of Cloud9, improving on their cash gameplay after eating a loss versus Ghost. This is them to improve their record this season and dispatch of one of those middle pack type teams.
Yeah, I really have no idea how it's just been rocky starts on both days, on both maps, and then in the second half, they just walk away with it. I don't think Cloud9 even won a single round there.
Ooh, that's a close one, actually, now that I have to think about it.
8 rounds for Cloud9.
One, maybe? I believe.
They won the half, maybe, so...
Which is still incredible. 1 or 0, what's really the difference, right?
Yeah, not much.
Technicality, some would say.
At that point, splitting hairs.
Oy. So, 2 for MIBR. Nice to see them improve their record. Obviously, we do kind of think of them as being one of those top teams, but speaking of top dogs, we're joined back on the desk by Natu and James.
Thank you very much, guys. Cloud9 still leaving a little bit more to be decided, but it was nice to at least see Made in Brazil playing up to form, playing what you expected, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, first half, you think 7 rounds, CT side is actually pretty good. It's solid CT side on cash in today's standards, but then obviously you only get one of that second half. It felt to me like they went from doing the plan A to plan B to then plan C, just trying to do a lot of different things. You know, it kind of became one of those games where Cloud9 was just trying to do wherever if they identified that middle was clear, maybe just try to do a bit of a Hail Mary, send one player through there, like Flashy trying to make a play through the C connector, try to get behind the enemy line, so to speak, be a distraction, and then just grabbing into a bomb site. And then obviously MIBR started to stabilize, and they managed to take it home.
Well, they certainly did take it home. That's a 2-0 for Made in Brazil. They certainly needed. I think for Cloud9 at least, it's okay, we can give them that kind of bit of breathing room, right? We spoke about it already. They're allowed a little bit more time to kind of get things together. This is a new change for them, but it was just more also the individual skill that we expect to see more of here, right? Because that's the thing that isn't excusable.
Yeah, I mean, the positive sign, I guess, is that Rush, for example, had a rough first map, started actually hitting some shots, started to get those entry kills that he needs to do. But here again, watching these replays, I mean, this went, Cloud9 was trying to just do a setup play towards the bomb side, but MIBR seemed to be like a step ahead all the time. Either they were finding that 1-2 second slot where Cloud9 was about to do their execute, they're already throwing their mollies and smokes, and then someone would either spam a smoke or get into an advantageous position, get the crucial kill. That would then kind of like end the first punch, so to speak. You know, that's like you really need to get those first couple of guys in. If you don't get that, then it's really, really hard to have any kind of contest even for the bomb site.
So looking at Cloud9 as a whole, right, do you think at least you're seeing some glimmers? Because we've seen two different halves, right? We saw a T side that looked pretty good. We've seen a CT side that looked pretty good. Do you think this is enough now that we can say, okay, they've got something to build on, or do we kind of preempt this more changes to come?
I mean, I don't think it's time to throw them into the meat grinder at this point in time. You could put a label on top of them saying under construction.
Yeah.
It still very much is. You can see the signs. You know, they want to, like I said before, they want to make sure their fundamentals are good. Obviously, so finding the right pace, being able to enter into the bomb site on a T side, and kind of deny their opposition to do those proactive plays. Something that Ghost is really good at. You know, they baited their opposition in MIBR to do those plays and then hit afterwards and just traded really well. So, you know, it takes a little bit of time, obviously, because the whole, just the culture of the team is going to have to change for them to make it work, obviously, with this set of players.
Yeah, I think that's another big factor of this, right? It's not just the fact that you've added two Swedish players who have obviously got the ability in there. It's more the fact that this is probably very different to anything the North Americans have had to deal with, right? Different style of in-game leader, different play styles being seen across the board. But at least I will say it was nice to see Made in Brazil now, not just yesterday, but also today managed to make this work. And I wonder if a little bit of that is down to just like, oh, look, well, we took two of your players. We still want to rub that in a little bit further.
I don't think that'll ever really fade away. I think it's part of it. Obviously, that lineup won a major in Cloud9 together, and then they'll always have that. But then, you know, having to face one another, there's that little piece of, you know the little tendencies of certain individuals. When do they like to peak? When do they like to push? And so forth and so forth. So those are the type of things that make it a bit of a psychological warfare as well. So that's the fun part of it.
Well, Made in Brazil, they've managed to make it happen. They get the 2-0 over Cloud9. But as we were saying on the desk, Cloud9 under construction here. We're going to go to a quick break, but coming right up, it's E United taking on Ghost Gaming.